Well, good evening ladies and gentlemen, and you're watching now live Chandra Open 2014, the European Bowling Tour. Live from the Netherlands. So everyone, welcome on Dutch Bowling TV. This is squad 10, qualification squad 10, game 1. And in this squad we got some very great players. Oscar Palermo, PBA player. Also PBA player Brian Valenta is in this squad. From the Netherlands we got Jort van Weeren. Daniel Vezis from Latvia. Alexander Medichkov from Russia. Christoph Sussen from Germany. Tony Renta from Finland. Tony was the winner here 2 years ago. Richie Tees from England is in this squad. But it is a quiet squad again. We see 4 empty lanes. And we have 3 on a pair of lanes. But 3 squads to go. So hopefully tomorrow we get more players. It is the last squad of today now. And tomorrow 10 o'clock we continue with this tournament with squad 11. So hopefully you enjoying the series here, and also this live stream of course. And when I take a look around, we see Oscar Palermo, he starts with a front 4. Tony Ranta starts with spare strike, spare strike. Dennis Knijp, he starts with spare and 3 strikes. Shakil Abdul Bashir starts with strike, spare, double strike. Alexander Mediskov from Russia, he starts with spare, strike and 3 spares. That seems the best scores in the first 4 or 5 frames. In a moment we get some more bowlers here in our commentary. I take a look around, I can see, can find some bowler for you here in the comment also. And then you can ask questions of course in our chat room. Well, the internet speed here in this bowling center is very slow, so probably you get some troubles sometimes with the stream, maybe. So we can't give you the best quality, but I hope it's good so far for you. And that you can watch your favorite bowler. There's 5 in a row for Oscar Palermo. Here you see the slow-mo. Playing far from the outside with Urethane. So I see 3 two-handers in this squad. Brian Valenta, right-handed. Asko Palermo, right-handed. And Daniel Vezis, left-handed. Oh no, there's 4 two-handers. Also Christoph Sussen in Germany. So 4 two-handers in this squad. 3 right-handers, 1 left-hander. As you know, we play on 38 feet pattern. 26.4 milliliters total oil volume. Let's see now a left-hander, Daniel Vezis from Latvia. That's a nice shot. Here Asko, right-hander. That's a solid shot. Jort van Weeren from the Netherlands. Oh, he got a split. Well, let's check the replays here. Here you see the left-hander, the two-hander, the only left two-hander in this squad, Daniel Vezis. And here we got Asko playing around board 7, straight lines for him. Now 7 in a row for Asko Palermo. So we stay on this pair of lanes, of course. He's the best starter. And Daniel Vezis got double strike, open, open, and 5 strikes. Vladimir's Pribilevs, he has strike, double spare, strike, spare, and 3 strikes. Here he is. No, and that's a 9. Richie Tees from England. You see Christoph Sussen there. Two-hander from Germany. Patrick Elsendoren, the Netherlands. But let's watch Asko. Can he make 8 in a row? There's Asku. Yes, and that's 8 in a row. Oh, and that's a 9 for Daniel Bezis. Well, if Daniel throws a spare, he starts with 235. Tony Renta can strike out in the 10th for 239 maximum score, but Asku is on front 8. There we go, Asku Palema. Front 8 so far. And there's 9 in a row. So 3 strikes to go for a perfect game. And also the first 300 of this tournament. Here we go, 10th frame, Asku Palema. Can he make the perfect game at 300? Oh no, 4 pin and no 300 for Asku. spare. So strike, it will make 279. Also a good start for your first game, of course, but he wants to strike it out for sure. There's another strike. Great game, of course. 279 Oscar Palermo, and the biggest game. I think it's the biggest game so far here in this tournament also. I can ask Mark Chandra. Mark, 279 the biggest game so far?
It's the highest score so far.
Yeah, it's the highest score in this tournament. So the high game now is 279.
Set the bar on that game.
Last frame, Wigmore, and then we going to game number 2, and we know the leader in this squad is definitely Oscar Palermo with 279. I think, yeah, it's Vasis on second position, 235. Ranta shoots 212. Valenta is on 202. And the rest is removed from the screens. 218 for Vladimir's. And 203 Richie Tees. So I think that's the only 200s here so far. Yeah, that's the only who shoot 200s, and the rest is under. But we waiting for the scores. So now we have the second game, and I'll be back in a moment. Yeah, we got a question I see in the chat, or they ask, oh, we have live scoring. We don't have live scoring, but if you check the website of the tournament, you see it in your screen, www.chandra-open.nl. Go there, and there you can find these results. You have the Dutch page, but if you go on the right side of that page, you click on the English flag, you have all the English, all in English, and you can find the results there. And the results updated after every game.
Stu, what can I say about the new Hysteria? It's the newest member of the HP3 line. We've had a lot of success, and man, we've got a new part, and it does something totally different. And you look pretty excited about it. I'm just saying, you're grinning ear to ear, so we must have done something right here.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, that ball with the shiny cover definitely gives me a lot more options. I can play straight with it, and then once the lanes start to break down, I can move left and curve it as much as I want to. Really.
Yeah, and you touched upon that. It's really good to the coming up with a shiny solid. That's something we haven't had in a long time. And again, with a variety, with the new core, man, we've got a lot of things going. And like I said, I'm guessing you're going to have probably 2 to 4 to, knowing you, maybe 6 of this ball in your bag.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a few. It's been a while since we've had a shiny solid. I think the whole world was like me, and they were in love with the Nomad solid. So hopefully they can see some more success with this one.
Stu, man, I got to tell you, given the success you've had using the Disturbed, and a lot of times, I know just working with you a little bit on tour, you had a couple of them with some shine on them. Now we've got a brand new part. It's a solid cover stock, comes factory shined. Man, you got to be excited about this one.
Yeah, the new weight block in the Hysteria with the higher RG and the higher diff should give me something that's a lot more off the back end than the Disturbed. So I'll probably start blocks using the Disturbed, and once that starts to get a little bit lazy down lane and I need to move left, rather than using the shiny Disturbed and trying to trick it, I can just move straight into this new Hysteria and watch that baby peel off the back.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point there instead of trying to trick it, and I think that's one of the things we have to focus on with the lower RG core of like the Disturbed. Now we've got variety. We've made a higher RG core to help give you that length down the lane, and like you said, get popping. Man, some of the shots you threw today, you were able to get in and really get it come around the corner.
Yeah, definitely, and it also gives you that smoother motion as opposed to some of the other pieces that, when you start to see them come off the spot a little bit too hard, this is a little bit more continuous.
What can I say? The masses have spoken, and we had to deliver. HP3, we needed a part that got down the lane and give you a little bit more kick and change direction, and that's exactly what we did with this new Hysteria. If you don't have one of these in the bag, you're missing out. And remember, with Rotor Grip, we help you own it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You're watching Squad 10, the European Bowling Tour Chandra Open 2014, live from the Netherlands. And next to me here we got Paul Moore from England with a big beer.
A big beer, yes.
Yeah, really a big beer.
I deserve one.
Yeah, you deserve. 5th position, I see.
Yep.
You shot 216, 234, 216 again, and 173, and in a big game 267, and 246 makes 1352 in your 5th place after qualification so far.
That's
So
right.
Paul, what do you think about this pattern and the lanes? Can you tell the people something about it?
It's for me. Well, bowling today they hooked a lot for me. More so on the low end than the high end. The 170 game is where I went from 15, 16 to 1 and 2, and straight away my ball was hooking a lot more. But you know, it's a tough pattern. The pins don't fall over easy here.
Yeah.
You know, from experience. You know, I had one. You know, I got one messenger, and I was really happy with that. Getting the messengers here is very rare.
Where you play on the lanes? You play more farther from the outside?
Yeah,
straighter lines,
as
inside out?
As a lefty, yeah. You know, you're
Yeah.
generally used to playing that part of the lane,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I was throwing it quite, you know, getting it quite firm off my hand, and when the last 3 games they got drier, and I made a ball change after that bad game, and I was still throwing it quite hard.
Which
You
balls
know.
did you use?
I used first 3, well, disturbed, I pinned down disturbed, quite strong, and then used it for the 170. I was having problems with the approach on 1 and 2. They were really slippery.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then cleaned my heel, and it looked a lot better, but damage was done by then. But then game 5 and 6, I went to a pin up up draw, and that just had a bit of shine on it, so it just got through the front a bit easier, and it's got an extra hole down, so it's not as jumpy off the back of the pattern. But I could get the ball through the front a lot easier there than the disturbed. Disturbed was just rolling way too early for me.
So that's 2 balls you use, or you use only...
Just the 2, yeah.
Okay. And 267, which pair of lanes?
3 and 4.
3 and 4, so game 4 was on 1 and 2?
Yeah.
You're 173, but what do you think about lane 1 and 2? I think they are totally different than the other pairs here.
Well, I was probably using the wrong ball. You know, I tried to stick with the disturbed, and it just didn't look right. And the first 4 or 5 frames I was clean, but I was like 94.
Yeah.
You know, I'd lost so many pins in count because I was just too worried, more thinking about my feet too much and my slide rather than throwing the ball. Because my first shot, I almost, you know, I didn't stop sliding at all, and then I changed my sole, and then I stuck too much, and then I went back, and I was messing around with my soles, you know, a little too much to really focus on, you know, throwing good shots.
Yeah.
So
I played also 2 squads this week. I got the same trouble. It was one day I think it was very much slide on the end, and the other day I played it was more sticky. Much more sticky, and I came from 16, 15, 16, go to 1 and 2, and it's totally different on that books.
yeah, when I started 11 and 12, approaches were really tight. You know, I was using a combination of the heel and sole was quite slippery, and I still was. If I went to a slidier sole or less slidier heel, I was sticking too much, and went up, I was sliding too much. So I was caught in between. But it was just a case of settling down, and once the lanes break down and people are sliding in that same area, so the middle 20 boards they get worn in, so the approaches are, you know, they don't feel as slippery. Outside of that, they are, because no one's using the outside part of the lane.
Yeah.
I only noticed that once. I had a 3-7 combination. I made it, but I almost went over the foul line because I couldn't stop sliding.
Okay. Well, it was your first time? First time you played?
Yep, it's always good. It's a bonus to make it first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always come to these events and think, you know, 2-3 entries.
How many entries you got left?
I got one. I bowl once tomorrow, maybe. I'll see where I'm placed. If I'm 5th at the moment, so if I need, a slightly higher score to make the top 8, but you only get one bye, so there's not a big, advantage to bowling. And you never know. A lot of the tournament nowadays, people who bowl don't get the byes and bowl in the morning and you get warmed up and get used to the lanes on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I've had tournaments where I've had to bowl all day and I've done really well, and then I've had tournaments where I've got full maximum byes and bowled 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when
Which
everyone
tournament you play before here?
You
play before this tournament?
Well, I had German League the week before, and then the week before that I had Etna Open, and I led qualifying there. And then this is what I was saying. I came into the top 16 and I went straight out the first round. I just was never comfortable. And yet some of the people who bowled squads before didn't get byes. Daniel, for instance, he didn't get any byes, and yet he was second in the end. He bowled really well on the Sunday.
Well, in the first games we take a look at Daniel, and everybody see he's playing with the urethane, far from the outside. What do you think about that? Because he's also a lefty, you know how the lanes are.
Well, funny enough, I used urethane last year to qualify.
In the same bowling here.
Last year, I used
that pattern was 39 feet and more flatter than this one.
Yeah, I used a supernatural. I was awful in the first squad, trying to use modern day balls.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, bowled my second squad. This squad last year, I think I bowled 2 squads on Friday. The first squad I bowled was terrible, and then I bowled the second squad. And towards the end of practice, I thought, well, I'll give the supernatural a try. And it looked okay, and I used it all 6 games. Even on the right side, Karsten, he had 1390. He used a blue hammer, original blue hammer.
So they did the same.
I was told for most of the block.
Yeah, and we see Osku. He's starting with the
natural. I think.
No, the other one from the pitch black. Pitch black. Yeah. Also a urethane ball, and looks very great. First game was amazing.
Yeah, he had the front 9.
Yeah.
The 270.
And the second game, we can take a look what the second game was.
He started bad in the second game. He had 2 splits, spared one of them.
He shoot exactly 200.
200. So he's still
Yeah,
well in there.
Vezis is on top now, 493 in this squad, followed by Palema, 479. Brian Valenta is on 3rd position, 416. And then we got Tony Renta, 402. And that's only the 4 players who shoot the 200 average after 2 games.
So there's a big gap there between who was above Tony? 460. Brian, and then it goes to 40.
Yeah.
So there's a 60 pin gap between. That's
14 pins. 14 pins between 3 and 4, and then we get a gap of 4 pins between 4 and 5. Vladimir Pribilev is on 5th position. 398, Niels van Dijk 6, 392, Jort van Weren 389 on 7, James Wigmore England 380, Alexander Medvedeskov on position 9 at this moment 370, and Richie Thies is on 10th with 352, and Richie finished with 149.
Yeah, I saw the back end of that game. His ball was almost coming back at him. He was hooking a lot. I was trying to get him matched up in practice, and we were trying to get him to bowl a bit straighter and a bit more up
Did
the
he
lane.
bring some urethane with him?
No, he was saying. I said, "Did you bring urethane?" And he said,
no.
He's regretting it now, I think.
So he has to find a solution, because where is he on now? He's now on 112 in frame 7 with 3 in a row.
I'm sure he will find something.
Yeah,
he's good enough to do that.
Yeah.
He was second last year. He almost won it.
Yeah.
From 1 10 pin away from winning it.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was commentating at that moment as well.
Yeah. Let's see how he can make 4 in a row now on the screens. There we go. That's a nice shot.
Good shot.
Well, you see he's more moving inside than the other players. Around 3rd arrow, a little bit 2 board 7, I think. That's the line he play.
I think if his ball speed was a lot higher, he could play a lot straighter. But
Yeah.
just that little bit, you know, he said he struggles when he tries to get his ball speed up. He's not as consistent. And obviously, these kind of patterns, you need to be consistent.
Yes, exactly.
So you have to do something that you know you feel comfortable with. But you also have to make the right moves.
What do you think? Is this a hard pattern or fair pattern? How you can call it?
It's pretty tough. I mean, I haven't seen. There's been no huge scores. You know, there's been
No.
1 1400.
No. Yeah, Jeroen van Geel in the first squad.
Yeah.
Well, at home, if you have some questions, you can ask in the chat, of course. And you can ask Paul also. If you want to have some questions for Paul Moore, ask them. Mensen thuis, u kijkt dus naar Chandra Open 2014, live vanuit Nieuwegein. Chandra Bowling dus. En naast me zit Paul Moore. Hele bekende speler in de bowlingwereld. Heeft u nog vragen, stel ze gerust. Zal ik kijken om ze zoveel mogelijk natuurlijk te vragen aan hem en CQ te beantwoorden. Desnoods ook in het Nederlands, geen probleem, maar blijf vooral kijken. We zitten nu serie 10 en de derde game spelen we nu. En aan de leiding momenteel in deze serie is Daniel Vesis van Letland en Oskar Palerma uit Finland is tweede. Brian Valenta staat nu op 3 en Tony Ranta op 4, maar dat is over deze serie. Hoogste gegooid is door Daniel Vesis. Hij gooide 493 over 2 games. Dat is zeg maar zo'n 2,45 gemiddeld. Ruim. En de hoogste game is ook gegooid in deze serie door Oskar Palerma. De eerste game was 2,79. Dus heeft u nog vragen? Vraag ze gerust aan Paul. U kunt ze gewoon in het Nederlands stellen in de chat. En wij gaan ze natuurlijk stellen hier. En proberen zoveel mogelijk antwoorden te krijgen natuurlijk voor u. Oké, Paul. Something in Dutch.
Dank u wel.
We have, yeah, you can speak Dutch. I know you can speak some words in Dutch, of course.
Nee. Is that the same? I know the like.
Yeah, that means
some
thank
word.
you.
Dank u wel is thank you.
Yes.
Well, I fly with KLM a lot, so I get to hear all their
Yeah.
safety announcements. So there are certain words I could almost memorize it now, actually.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of youth players watching now, but what advices can you give the youth at this moment if they're watching? What can they do to improve the game, improve the things? What are the most important things to do?
It depends. I mean, it's what stages that each people. There's lots of different age groups. People are more. When you're younger, you want to concentrate on the fundamentals and make your spares and try and throw the ball the same twice. It's great to be able to hook the whole lane, but if you can't hit the same arrow or the same area of the lane at the same time, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to. For me, when I was growing up and my dad bowled, and he got me started with bowling, and he always kept me back. There were a lot of kids rushing into getting fingertip balls and when he's put the lane, and my dad wouldn't let me get my first fingertip ball until I was sparing most of my spares. Yeah.
Okay.
So that spares is an important thing, especially in tournaments like this. When you're bowling these kind of events with tougher patterns, you need to be able to spare. You drop one spare a game, and that's
it's -10.
That's
-10 for sure.
More than that, 12 pins off your average again.
Yeah.
Just one single pin.
And how many hours of practice you spend, let's say in a week or in a month, really practice, I know if you play tournaments, there's also practice for you, but practice at your own, or you know what I mean?
It's difficult for me because where I'm based, I don't have the facilities to bowl, to practice, and I can practice, but I want to practice on tough conditions. I want to practice where I've got patterns like this and in other places, in other EBTs, to get the facilities to put down those similar conditions. but I don't. And
Well, that's nice that you tell me that you can put down the conditions you want, because in Holland I know of a lot of people they can put it. You know, they have the
Well,
old machines.
that's
or
what I
whatever,
mean.
But and what things you practice then? What can you do then?
Well, exactly.
To be better and better. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I can. My spare game is pretty good. I feel I don't really. If there was a problem, I'd practice it. But my spare game is quite solid, so I don't really focus on that as much. I focus on what I feel I need to do to be competitive. Which, as a lefty, I need to be able to practice more to play straight up the lane. You know, 3 or 4 years ago, I was, well, even when I was winning the European ranking events, I was able to get that, be able to throw the ball a little bit to the left and get it to recover. Now I can't do that, just because the patterns have changed, equipment's changed, everything's, the bowling in Europe has evolved a lot. Competition's got a lot harder. There's a lot more people out there who are more educated in.
What do you think? What's the biggest change? Is it the oil patterns, the balls? They are too strong? Or?
There's a combination of things. The balls have gotten stronger. There's no doubt about that. And the competition is stronger. There's more of the guys now. The top European guys are bowling more in the States. You got Oscar, Martin, Dom, Stu, Thomas as well. They're competing in the States, and in the States it's completely different atmosphere, completely different. What the word is, their approach to the game. There's a lot more lane management. Breaking the lane down. When I was winning the rankings,
so what you tell me is that in Europe most of the people play all over the place. Let's say that, yeah, and in the States it's more where they have to play. They play.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because the PBA with the World Series, a lot of the guys will know where to play. On the certain patterns they'll break down the pattern in a way. Sometimes it might work against you if you get across with someone who's, people who are bowling the wrong part of the lane. It makes it harder for everyone else. When people, right-handers can work together. If they know where to bowl and make the lanes easier. And I think a lot of the bowlers from Europe have gone across to the States and come back. They've learnt that, and it's spread about. The knowledge has been spread within Europe, and I think it's more prevalent now with the strength of the balls rather than it was 10 years ago. When I was 2004, 5 and 6, I didn't hear anything much about people breaking the lane down. Maybe I was just being naive. Maybe I think too much now, but just how it seemed to me, I just went up and bowled. Now I'm thinking, where should I start in practice just to break the lane down a bit for me. But as a lefty by myself with a medium to low rev rate, I can't do that as much as the guys who average 500-600 RPM and can break the lanes down.
Yeah.
But I just have to adapt. It's frustrating being up there in the past, and now I'm not as successful as I was, but at least I've been there and had the experience and had the success.
Yeah. You go to the States again this year? You have some events there? You have some events in the States?
I go and bowl the World Series in October.
In October, okay, great.
I go a week before. There's a couple of regional events in Reno.
Yeah.
So I go there, bowl. That's in the National Bowling Centre.
So the World Series, then you get all the PBA patterns, eh?
Yeah. They have, same as last year, they have the Cheetah, Viper, Scorpion. No.
Also the newer patterns, the Wolf?
No, that's at the Summer Swing.
Ah, okay. So
Wolf, Bear and Badger at the Summer Swing event.
Did you play also the Summer Swing?
Not this year. I did the first year.
I think it was really hard.
Yeah,
especially the Bear. I saw the 40 feet flat. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, that's like the US Open pattern.
Yeah.
But the Wolf is, I think the Wolf is the short pattern.
Yeah.
32 feet. But when I bowled, it was in Milwaukee, I believe. It seems like a long time ago now. The Badger was the 52-foot pattern, and the Wolf was the Bear was the 40-foot flat. So they were very extreme patterns. This year they changed it. They moved it to Oklahoma, and I decided not to bowl it. and looking at how the scores went and other lefties, the only lefty who did any good was Rhino Page. So I kind of felt I made the right decision, but then I went to Aalborg and bowled terrible, so it wasn't really. It was kind of
Yeah.
you know, caught between one of the two of the, both events. I'd have probably struggled, well, not probably, but it didn't look good for the left in Oklahoma, judging by what I saw and what I'd heard off other people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good event for me in Aalborg. So, but anyway, the World Series patterns, I did. I made match play last year in World Series, so I was happy. I was really happy with that. That was my goal, to make the top 24, which I did. I made two match plays in the animal patterns as well.
Yeah.
The Viper and the Chameleon. The Viper was 39 feet. The Chameleon was 43. Cheetah was 30.
36. It
35
was 36. It's now
35,
shorter, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. Each pattern is like 4
Yeah.
4 feet different.
They changed it from 2010 versions. They make a change.
Viper used to be 37. Now it's 39. Scorpion used to be more in the middle, 41 I believe, or 40, and then they moved it to 43. And then Shark. No, they didn't use Shark. No, sorry, Chameleon was 39, and now it is 43. And Scorpion used to be 41 feet.
It was 41.
Yeah, and then that was then.
I think it's long now. It's 43 now. Scorpion's 43 now.
Yes,
But no matter, we know it's difference.
and they don't use the Shark pattern now because the Scorpion is doing the longer pattern.
43, yeah, that's right. Oké. Nou, dames en heren, Paul Moore naast me. Ik heb hem even wat vragen gesteld natuurlijk, ook voornamelijk voor jullie thuis, voor de jeugd. Van, nou, wat moet je als jeugdspeler, wat kun je daaraan adviseren? Dus hij zegt bijvoorbeeld heel duidelijk, train vooral op je spare. Sparen is zo belangrijk, zeker als je op deze conditie gaat spelen. Dus moeilijke baancondities is het sparen alleen maar belangrijker. Gewoon ervoor zorgen dat je spare game in ieder geval op orde is. Dat is het allerbelangrijkste in het bowlen. Daar vooral op gaan trainen. Dat je je spares gewoon niet meer mist. En als je dan op deze conditie terechtkomt waar je al moeilijk strijd krijgt, dan krijg je er alleen maar voordeel van. Als je spare game natuurlijk super is. Ook zegt hij, nou, waar je vooral voor moet zorgen dat je zeer continu alles hetzelfde kan doen. Dus als je bijvoorbeeld zegt, ik gooi mijn tweede arrow, dan moet je de tweede ook echt raken. Dus hoe continuer je kan spelen, hoe meer je hetzelfde kan doen, hoe beter je kan spelen op deze moeilijke condities. En verder heb ik hem nog even gevraagd natuurlijk over wat hij nog allemaal gaat spelen aan events en etcetera, etcetera. Hij gaat nog ook met de World Series meedoen in Amerika. En ja, hij ziet het echt als een uitdaging. Maar dat begint pas in oktober. En het gevoel voor hem is ook in ieder geval dat hij heeft er in ieder geval heel veel zin in. En het komt goed, zegt hij. Het gaat steeds beter en beter met me. Dus hij heeft er in ieder geval veel zin aan. Dat is eventjes kort, heel snel een samenvatting vertaald, zeg maar, over het interview van zojuist. Maar u mag nog steeds vragen stellen in de chat. En wij vragen natuurlijk alles. Geen probleem. We hebben nu de mogelijkheid, als u de mogelijkheid ook wilt hebben om te vragen aan sommige spelers uit de PBA hier, etcetera, etcetera. Dat kunnen we natuurlijk nu allemaal vragen. De mogelijkheid is er. Dus ik zou zeggen, stel gerust je vragen, ook in het Nederlands. En wij beantwoorden ze. Wij vragen natuurlijk en beantwoorden ze wel. Okay, Paul, we got another question here. What's the best way to clean your sliding soles when they got sticky?
Soles is difficult when they get sticky because they're made of fabric.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. You have to kind of, well, change sole, I would guess, if it's really bad. But then you could always use a wire brush.
Yeah.
With heels, they're not so bad because the rubber. This was the problem I had myself in the earlier squad. I think it was like chewing gum. I must have stepped on some chewing gum.
I know what I mean, yeah.
So I had to scrape it off with a knife, and once I did that, I was okay. But when they get sticky, it's difficult. You know, being fabric, it's like I say, it's hard to clean them. You'd need to just use a wire brush and clean the, just keep put the sole back on and just keep sliding your sole, testing it, and then get to a stage where you feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
If it's really bad, then you probably need to get another sole. You know, soles tend to wear out anyway. You know, you get a brand new Dexter 2 or 4 sole, and then after a few weeks or a few months, it's...
How long do you use one sole? Do you use it very long time, or?
Well, it's a feel thing really. If you feel that you need something, you've got a brand new sole. You know, you think you need a brand new sole, then you just get one. They probably wear out.
You have every number. You have 3 till 10.
Yeah.
Every number.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I've got a brand new 4, 2, 6. I've got older ones as well. You know, you have soles that you tend to like because they don't. You know, once they get to a stage when you've used them a lot, they don't change as much. You know, I prefer on plastic lanes. There are a lot of plastic approaches. It's really important to have a range because plastic approaches change so much with the humidity of the center. You get a lot of humidity, they can be really sticky, and if it's really dry atmosphere, they can be really slidey.
Yeah,
I've always noticed when I bowl German league, the approaches are really slippery, but that's because of what
slippery there. Yeah,
because of
I think they use the cleaner, the white stuff. I don't know. That's the approach cleaner, the white stuff.
It's what they,
the white liquid. It's so slightly.
Yeah, it's what they treat it with. Here, the approach is the approach in the lanes of System 300. And I've always I've always found those approaches are more on the sticky side.
Yeah.
So each approach is different. I prefer wood approaches. They don't change as much.
I heard some sounds. The approach in the States very sticky, isn't it? If you check Europe here, like here.
I think so. Yeah, I would say they're stickier than normal.
Okay.
In the World Series, the South Point Centre, they have a lot of dust on it because it comes down from the ceiling, from the air conditioning. So you get dust marks on the end of near the foul line in the shape of like a half moon. Look, that's where the shoe has been sliding into the lane. Yeah. So you can get a lot of dust, and that can affect the approach. That can make it slippier because then you're kind of.
So you have to brush it every shot when you play. You have to brush
some people do. You know, it's all a preference thing. Some people prefer to. Like to. You know, it can be a subconscious thing that you have to brush your sole every shot. People feel better doing that. I just use my hand and every shot just to make sure there's nothing on there that shouldn't be on there, like bits of like stones or anything that might affect the slide. Yeah. But yeah, if you have a really bad, if you step in a puddle of water, you're best to just. Oh no, that's so bad. Well, you can get it. Someone spills a little bit of water on the back. Priscilla did this week. Really? She was on lane 1 and 2. Something goes wrong, and she stepped over the fall line. So in the oil came on the sole, and then she was in trouble. She can't remove it anymore, so you have to do a sole change. Yeah. And she was happy that somebody got it. She used a 2, and so was really happy that somebody gave her a 2, only for the last 2 games. You see, she's now on. Where she's now? She's in top. Still in the top 8. Where's she? I don't know. She had a score early on. She has a great score. The score is not online so far, I see. But we can see because she's playing in squad 4, I think. No, she shoots 1368. Oh, just more than me then. Yeah. So she's in top 4. But she was very happy that she can loan some sole of another bowler here. I always keep my soles no matter what condition they're in until they get to a stage where they don't stick onto my shoe anymore. The more you change them, obviously, the less effective they are, and they can. So once they start peeling off too easily, I'll throw them away. But I'll keep them. It's no point in throwing them away because you might need it.
Yeah.
You never know. But it's always worth keeping spare soils just in case you step in some water or something goes, step over the line.
Like that, yeah.
Oh, I've done that before.
No, the qualification is removed from the site as here, results 2014, but I can't refresh them. It's not working so far.
They had problems with the scores earlier. There were some people missing off the
Yeah,
finals.
we got the only problem here we got in this bowling center is a very low upload speed, a very slow internet connection, and that's the trouble we got. And yeah, even for live stream we have a very low upload, and I think we are happy that you can see at home some screen, because we have to make some big adjustments on our live stream to show you live streaming of Chandra Open, so we're happy that it works so far.
But it is a good setup you have here.
Yeah, all of the setup is okay.
Lots of buttons and dials, and it's got to be impressive.
Paul sitting here behind the mixers. It's easy. This is a small audio mixer we have here. We have a video mixer. We have some video preview screens. We have a big computer who's sending the live stream to you at home by Ustream. And we have another computer here to check the chat room, of course, and watching some score updates. Well, it's a small setup. We have 3 cameras here in this bowling center. It's not my biggest setup, but no matter.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah, what do you think about it? Because I see a lot of EBTs, but they don't have live stream. I don't know why.
There's some live streams. I mean, Herbert Bowling Digital does
Euro Bowling Digital, the Euro
Vienna.
Challenge. But I see some like what was your last tournament? The Brunswick tournament?
Etna.
Etna. There was no live stream.
They had last year. Dominic Gall from Talk Tempin did some, but he wasn't able to travel this year, so they didn't have any. They didn't have any of those facilities this year, which was a shame because it was a good final.
And
I was
we
there.
got last week the Russia Open for, I think.
Yeah.
Also no live stream.
I don't know. I've never bowled there, so
no.
It's not somewhere that's easily to get to. That Russia.
What do you think about live streaming in EBT events? I think every EBT event has to be live streaming.
It's a good idea. If you look at the PBA equivalent, they have extra frame.
Yeah.
And they show the PBA 50 events. They show regional PBA events. They have other events that are on. They show the match play from. And qualifying from the World Series. And it's not just watching it, but then you have people commentating on it. You have guest commentators. People. The top PBA guys, and it's just listening to people and learning from that as well. That's just by listening to the people talking online. It's always
and they can learn from it.
Yeah, that's right. You get someone who's talking about their ball reaction, or talking about what balls they're using, or talk about how they had to throw the ball. And then someone might think at home, "Oh, that's something I might try."
Well, we got a question again. What is the oil pattern being used? Yeah, it's a 38 feet oil pattern. It's 26.4 milliliters total oil volume. And Paul, what can you tell about the oil pattern? Is it a tough pattern?
They're always tough. It's pretty flat. It's less than 3-to-1 ratio. It's 38 foot is never easy because it's not short enough where you can just play the gutter, and it's not long enough where. Well, for me anyway, where I can move in. I have to play, in a certain area of the lane, which I could do today. So it's not easy. Yeah. That kind of length is tough because then you want to play outside, but then if you don't get the ball reaction you need, it forces you inside. But then there's not enough length in the pattern to create hold and to create a bit of push in the middle of the lane, like there is with 41 foot pattern. I'm just talking, from my perspective as a lefty, it doesn't change much. For a righty's perspective, it's completely different. There's far more traffic on the lane.
Yeah.
I just trying to say what I hear from other righties saying that Dom was talking to Richie earlier, and he said the lanes today were a lot different to yesterday when he bowled. He had 13, 17.
Yeah.
Today he struggled, but he said there wasn't that miss inside today like there was yesterday. He could afford to move.
So yesterday he can miss more inside.
Yeah, there was a bit more push down the middle of the lane. Today they're hooking a lot from everywhere, outside, inside, everywhere.
Somebody say 35 feet house shot. No, this isn't a 35 feet house shot. That's in the.
It might play a bit shorter, but it's certainly not a house.
Yeah, if you see Asku with his ball, he used urethane. Daniel Vezis used urethane, but those players got a lot of power and a lot of speed.
Yeah, you see, two-handers, they use urethane way more than us mere mortals.
Then one-hander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel uses urethane almost everywhere, from what I've seen. Anything 38 foot shorter, even 39 foot, Oscar can use urethane. It's just because he has that. The ball, the rev rate and the ball speed to cope with it.
Yeah.
I used urethane last year, but I tried my urethane briefly this year, and it didn't look so good. That's why I didn't use it.
Man, Stu, I got to tell you, this new Sinister, we got the new cage core, hybrid reactive cover stock. Dude, this ball just gets after it. And I know you were pretty excited. I watched you throw some shots today. Whew. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I threw the first one and then needed to take a large step to the left. This ball is definitely going to give you something different in the HP4 line. I think it's the most versatile ball yet. The hybrid cover stock is definitely gets down the lane a bit better than the Hypercell. And wow, sideways down the lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, having that core and that cover combination, and as you said, as you kept moving, and there's a lot of times when we get these asymmetric cores that, man, you kind of reach that kind of tipping point, but dude, you just kept chasing after it, and then it kept coming back around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, we got pretty far left, and it was still making the move really nicely, so I think it'll give you definitely a more versatile piece that you can use on a few more different angles and conditions.
When you think HP4, I want you to think one thing: dynamic. And that's exactly what we deliver with the new cage core. Dynamics like you've never seen. This ball is off the charts, and as you saw Stu today, man, from a variety of angles, variety of shapes, and tilts off his hand, this ball just gets after it. So I want you to go out, get you one of these, and
Okay, we're back.
Just seen Stuart on the commercial.
Yeah, he's not here.
He's not here, no, he's sunning it up in Arizona.
Yeah. And in a moment, I think we get Don Barrett here. So then we get commentary, Dominic Barrett and Paul Moore. I think you got some questions for Dominic, for sure. I hope they got questions.
I hope so.
Well, somebody tell me about commercials in using. Yeah, you can avoid commercials. There's no problem. If you have some commercial, you can avoid to install the AdBlock Plus. Go on Google and search for AdBlock Plus. I think the website is adblockplus.org. Install it for your web browser and you have no commercials anymore. And of course we have our store on Rotogrip commercials, but that's our head sponsor of the tournament. But I think that's a nice commercial. You see the newest brands and new balls. You have one of the which balls you got?
Here with me,
the Sinister
I
Hysteria.
haven't drilled any of the new stuff yet, so.
Okay, you have a high roads, I think.
I have a high. Nope.
No high roads for you.
Nope. I got the Disturbed, the Uproar.
Well, it seems we're back, Simon. Yeah, okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. Back on track. Yeah, we got some trouble with the live stream. Just I told before, the internet connection is so bad, and with this loads of data on this weak connection here, we get some troubles. But yeah, we try to do the best as we can, of course. Where did we stay, Paul?
Huh?
Ah, balls. Balls, yeah. Which branch you got? Yeah.
The balls, yeah. Yeah, mainly Rotor Grip and Storm, like I say, they've helped me out with equipment in the past. They helped me out in the World Series last year. And I just, you know, I find it easier to look at their equipment, look at what, you know, the information. I find it easier to just to know where everything fits. Maybe because I've used all their equipment more than all other brands. You know, people who have used Ebonite or Brunswick, you know, they're different. They'll know what ball fits into where straight away. But I mean, like I said before, they've helped me out in the past, and I've had. It seems like when I throw their balls, the ball reaction looks better than anything else I throw. I've had a bit of success with Columbia equipment, but mainly, you know, Storm and Rotor Grip feels like you know, the best.
Take a look around. I see Valenta, 4 in a row now, and Daniel versus from 5. Somebody asked what ball is Oscar using? Pitch black? Yeah, he was using the pitch black. I don't know if he's still using it, but
I don't know. I can't see from here.
You can see it from here. Yeah, it seems he's.
You'd probably see. It looks like a pitch black.
Yeah.
It looks quite dull and black.
Yeah.
And if he's playing pretty straight with it, you'd know it is. Yeah, it is.
It is the pitch black. Yeah, he's still using the pitch black. Well, Paul, you can tell us about it. The trouble with urethane, if you start with a dull urethane, it will polish itself by the oil.
Yeah, I mean,
it goes longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. How do you have a solution for it? You know?
It's difficult. You know, you can.
Is there any solution?
Not really when during a block, because you can't change the surface. So, you know, certain lanes, certain oils will polish the ball up more. But I've got a pitch black, and it hasn't really shined itself up as much as other urethanes that I've used. I heard last week that, you know, the pitch black is actually made in a different factory, and they're using an original U2 cover. Do you remember the Columbia U2? This could be complete rubbish, I don't know, but it's just what I heard last week. The pitch black is made in the factory that makes the 900 Global balls. Okay. Because I actually noticed when I drilled mine, the filler material.
You have a pitch black?
Yeah, I have it with me here. I use it for spares mainly.
Okay, but you know, you have the other Storm balls, the urethane balls. Is there any difference? The pitch black hooks more or not? What do you think?
I don't think so. No, it's more of a true urethane reaction. Because from what I've been told, the pitch black, the cover is what was the original U2 cover, which was an old Columbia urethane, and the filler material is actually different to the natural series. And I wondered why, and then somebody told me last week that it's because the ball is actually made in the 900 Global factory.
Yeah.
So the material that they use is different. Even the serial number is different, which is a dead giveaway. When I seem to believe I heard that all the low-end Storm equipment is made in the Global factory now. The Global. I could be wrong, but that's just what I heard. But when I drilled mine, when I was drilling it, I noticed that the material coming out was different. It was more powdery than when I drilled a Storm ball, and that's just the filler material.
Yeah.
When you feel it, you can feel the difference.
Yeah, and what?
And that, you know.
So let's say if we pick up a natural pearl or this one, which one hooks more? If you use the same drilling, what do you think?
Probably the natural pearl, I would say.
Hooks more?
I've got a natural pearl. It's drilled similar. It's drilled a bit stronger than my pitch black.
Yeah.
But when I've used it, if I had two brand new balls, obviously the natural pearl I've had for a while, so the reaction might be different than what a fresh ball would be like. But I think the pitch black is more of a true urethane reaction, so it's more earlier and not as doesn't hook down lane. The natural pearl and supernatural, they hook more down lane.
There's no one ain't interested in doing it. I'm going to have to ask you to do it. That's all right. You can do it tonight. I can.
Okay, we're back. So if you just tune in, you're watching now the European Bowling Tour Chandra Open 2014, Squad 10, Game 5 is now in. And just a moment ago you hear Paul Moore. And now next to me Dominic Barrett from England also. Welcome Dominic.
Hi, thanks very much for having me.
Well, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I can't complain. Had a pretty easy summer, only a few tournaments, so this is the first real one back, and schedule gets pretty busy after this one, so yeah, everything's been pretty good.
So you played 2 times on this 38 feet pattern, and what can you tell about it?
Quite different to last year from what I remember. The middles this year are hooking quite a lot more. Yesterday didn't feel quite as bad to me, and I bowled a lot better yesterday. And I could play a little bit further in, not deep, but between 15 to 20 for the majority of the block, and I could control my reaction from that point. But today I didn't feel like I could do that, and I think that's a little bit to do with me and how I was bowling, but also the squad played a lot further right, and the gutter hooked a little bit more. Not necessarily in a good way, just because the whole lane hooked more, and that's why Carson led using urethane. Oscu's now bowling, had 279 the first game using urethane, and the scores aren't big by any stretch of imagination, but there's a certain part of the lane I think that you're getting forced to play, which is a part of the lane which we're not used to playing so much anymore. And it's quite refreshing really, because it's not something we get to we have to do so much. So you get to see a lot of bowlers on the live stream. The ones that are hooking it generally struggling a little bit more, And the ones who are playing, you know, a little bit straighter, using sort of bowling balls that are a little bit calmer, you can really see them, you know, propel themselves up the standing.
Did you use urethane?
I did, yeah. I tried it today. I didn't yesterday. Didn't feel like I needed to in what I was trying to do, and I was getting the ball off my hand fairly smooth, and I could control my reaction pretty well yesterday. But today I did. I actually have an old plastic ball which is a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Which I need to put some surface on, and also the urethane as well. I need to try and figure out a way to use that. And you know, it doesn't matter if you're even using reactive. You still have to be into the outer part of the lane. That's how I was reading the lanes anyway.
Yeah. Well, which balls you bring? How many balls you bring this year?
Well, we drove and we had a car full. My wife Cassie came.
Yeah.
She bowled very well. She beat me yesterday and she bowled really well. So, you know, that was.
She beat you yesterday.
She bowled really good. She's rooming with her mum and I'm rooming with Oscar, so I didn't have to hear about it all night at least. But no, that was good. So we came together, and also in the car is her mum, who's over from Australia for 6 weeks. She gets to see her bowl this week. Also coming to the Weber Cup in a month's time.
Yeah.
And then my dad.
When the Weber Cup starts?
It starts on the 10th of October.
Okay. Oh, it's.
Or is it the 12th? No,
yeah, the weekend is the 12th. 11 and 12 is in the weekend.
Yeah, so 10, 11, 12th of October.
Okay.
That's right. And then also my dad came on this trip as well, so we had a car full. So I still managed to fit in 20 balls between Cassie and me. And I have
20 balls both?
No, all together. So I have 13 and she has 7. Okay. But I was kind of 38 feet for me isn't my favourite distance. It's kind of in between. You can either play further to the right or you could try to hook it and control your ball reaction a little bit better, and something that I'm not the best at doing still.
Yeah, and in the chat we got some questions for you. Don Barrett, have you bowled this tournament and what ball you were using? Yeah, of course he tell us that he bowled 2 squads. And okay, what balls did you use?
I used the new Rotor Grip Sinister yesterday. That's probably one of my better reactions, and the High Road Solid. Both balls are a little bit smoother. Both, not sure about the Sinister, I think that is a hybrid, but it's a lot smoother.
Yeah.
It's a strong ball, so what happens with strong balls is they generally don't store energy as well as sort of your mid-range balls. And what happens when the ball doesn't store energy, it's a lot smoother. So it doesn't come off the end of the pattern and do a big move. It's kind of starts up a little bit earlier on the lane, has a lot bigger mid-lane read, and that really helped me smooth out the back end and the middle part of the lane yesterday. And then when the oil got down the lane and that ball laboured a little bit, I got into a High Road Solid, and that was really what I used yesterday. I didn't have a game under 200 yesterday doing that. Today I felt like I started on the same pair actually as yesterday, but with Oski was on the same pair, Elko Gorta was on the same pair, and Alexander Medvedchikov was on the same pair. And that's 4 pretty high rev rates to start off on one pair of lanes. So I didn't really get a very good read the first block to see what was going on in the lanes today compared to yesterday. But yesterday I remember I had 210 I think the first game, and today I had 170. So obviously what I did today was not right, and I need to try and fix that for tomorrow.
Where did you play in the lanes? You know, how are you playing? How do you attack this pattern? In the middle, outside? What are you doing? You know?
I think you have to be outside. Like I said just before.
Yeah.
Now later on the block you see some oil down lane, and you can kind of push the. You know, you can get your ball to push in the middle part of the lane. In the beginning, it was very, very difficult to do that. It was the lanes feel quite dry in the middle, but I think that's not the oil. There's a lot of oil in the lane. It's more to do with the pattern length and the lane surface, I think. So you have to get your ball a little bit further right and try and control your your angles from there. Really.
Well, what do you think about the new brands, Storm Rotor Grips?
Yeah, really good. I just got the new balls from Rotor Grip last week, and the Sinister, like I said, is very, very strong. It's one of the strongest balls I think I've ever thrown. And it kind of, it's not just strong, it's quite versatile because, it doesn't hook as much as some of the other balls, but it really picks up on the lane. So that's quite usable, and like I can even use it on 38 feet because it's so much smoother. It's a ball that always picks up, doesn't overreact, and it will do that same sort of thing on longer oil as it does on shorter oil, just because the footprint of the ball onto the lane is so much bigger, and the core is working so much bigger as well. So it's trying to have that archy effect, that archy ball motion that you only ever really get from the strong balls. Then there's the Hysteria. This is a ball that I was quite excited about because I use 16 pounds. And a lot of the 16
pounds.
You play
16 pounds now?
Yes, I do. For the last 15 months, I think. And a lot of the 16 pound balls, because of the density of the core has to be that much heavier, you can't really get high RG bowling balls in 16. So a good example of that was a high road. A high road in 15 is very, very high RG.
Yeah.
In 16, it's about 0.05 difference in the RG. And what that really means is how much the ball is trying to not do down lane, but how fast it is really, how fast the core is. So if you, and high RG, the basic way to describe it is the higher the RG, the more cover heavy the bowling ball is. The lower the RG, the more core heavy.
Yeah.
So if it's core heavy, it's going to rev up more, it's going to be smoother, you're going to see more of an archy effect, really, with storm balls, especially because their covers are so clean. And then with a high RG ball, you're going to see the ball reaction be a lot faster. So high road pearls, high roads, and you can really see the ball stand up very quick. They're more cover heavy, high RG. But in 16s, because of you're adding the extra pound, you can't really make cover heavy bowling balls. You still have to put the weight into the core. So with that, it's been a long while since I've been able to use high RG balls because I'm in 16. But the Hysteria for me is actually, they've come out with a way in the R&D department in Storm to have high RG 16 pound balls. So this is a ball I haven't been able to use in quite a long time. So I'm quite excited about the Hysteria for that very reason. Unfortunately, in this tournament, it's not a ball I'm probably going to be able to use too much because there's so much, for want of a better expression, it's so snappy in the middle part of the lane. So I already have a very quick ball motion, which the lane has given me, being 38 foot and a little bit dry in the middle. The last thing I want to do is get a ball that's very snappy on top of that. It's just going to add to the problem. So unfortunately I can't use it too much this week, but it's still a ball I'm very, very excited about. And then after that is the Outcry by Rotor Grip. I have one, I drilled it a little bit stronger, so unfortunately that's not too good for this week either. But I'm quite excited about that ball too. I really like the Uproar, and it's the hybrid version of that. So looking forward to using that one. It's going to be a ball I had quite a lot of success with the Wipeout, and I can see it going alongside that ball quite well as well.
Okay. Well, on the lanes, how do you attack this pattern? I mean, more by rolling the ball more forward. What can you tell the people at home? Is it, a lot of people like to swing out the ball and hooks as much as possible, but is that the solution for harder conditions, or you prefer more a forward roll? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like 10 degrees roll, like that.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about tough conditions,
if they are flatter, what you do then?
Exactly. So, but you still have to talk about how they're playing. If it's a long pattern and they're playing quite slick, if there's a lot of oil or not so much oil in the lane.
Yeah.
In this lane there is quite a bit of oil, but it does play quite short. So you really need to get the ball into the lane, working with the lane. Up the back is the way I would go with this lane. You want to control how much hook is down lane. Any short pattern you bowl on, the key to the short patterns is controlling the back end. You have more back end than you normally have on a medium condition, if you like.
Yeah.
Medium distance. So the people who are going to win and do well are the ones who control the back part of the lane the best. you're still using quite a lot of volume on a shorter pattern, so your ball's still going to get up the lane fairly easily, and that's what a lot of people don't understand when they see the ball like that one by Marissa there. It was left and it hooked further left, and that's not because there's no oil in the lane. It's just the distance of the oil and how the oil and the pattern is. The ratios are done from board to board.
Okay, but that's that's a little bit theory. We know there's 38 feet. You have 26.4 milliliters of oil. That's what we know, and then you go on the lanes. And where do you look at? You look at the hook, but sometimes you throw the ball. Oh, it looks longer than you expected. It reacts later, longer. How do you read that? What do you do by reading the ball and the distance? What's some people say, how do the PBAs do it? What's the secret?
That really comes down to a lot of experience. I've been professional really for the last 5-6 years. I've been bowling in European tournaments in that time, and I've been bowling in tournaments since I was 14, which was 15 years ago. So, there's no real great answer to working out conditions and learning ball motion and things like that. That's stuff you have to go out and experience. If you see your ball hook in the middle part of the lane, the experience I have told me that I need to get my ball further away from the pocket. So to do that, can I do it with angle in the front? So if I have my breakpoint of 5, can I have my angle through the arrows, for a reference, at 20? Now it's very difficult.
So then you play 20 to 5.
Yeah. And sometimes you can
and
do that on
where
38
you look at the half of the lane or 3/4 of the lanes on 5. What I mean, you know what I mean? You look farther on 5 or.
Best way to describe your breakpoint is probably the furthest right that your ball is going to get. So unless you're Walter Ray and Norm Duke and can get your ball to lay down the furthest right and angle it in from the corner, for most people your breakpoint you can say is the furthest right that your ball is going to get. That's not the best way to describe it, but that's where probably most people look down the lane or in the middle part of the lane when they start looking at breakpoints. That's kind of where you're looking at. Now in 38 feet, there's a couple of different 38 feet patterns. You can play from 20 to 5 on some patterns, and some patterns you can't. Some patterns you have to go 7 to 5, 7 to 6, 7 to 7, and start off from there. And this is a pattern that's like the latter one of those two. You have to play a little bit straighter in the front, or you have to have a trick in the middle. And even if you can play 5 to 5, this pattern, you can tell by the scoring pace, is not very easy. The bowling centre itself, we know it now for the past few years we've been here. It's not a very easy bowling centre. The pins do not fall over very easily. And all of those things added together is your scoring pace. So some people in league say, well, we don't play on a very easy condition and I average 220. You do, maybe that is the case, but you don't bowl on these pins, you don't bowl on this surface. And it's the same if you bowl in very easy conditions and you only average 205, you might have a very hard lane surface and very hard pins. So all of those go into the scoring pace, and that's why the scoring pace and the average is so relative. And it doesn't really make a difference if you average 200 or you average 240. If you're first in the tournament, you're first in the tournament. That's really what I look at.
Yeah.
Same if you average 240 and you're, 20th. Doesn't make any difference what you average. It's where you are in that tournament and how you're competing against your peers.
Average is not important.
No, it's all relative. It doesn't make any difference.
I think a lot of people think average is the most important in the bowling, what they play, but
yeah, that all comes down, I think, in my opinion, to practice. If you practice with the scores on, you get quite reliant on the score to tell you if you're bowling good or not.
How many hours you spend on practice? Let's say in a week, Yeah, of course. I asked the same question to Paul, Of course, I know if you play some matches, some PBA matches, whatever, that's also practice. Every match is a practice
you get
again.
all experience from that.
But how many times you practice around your matches?
It all depends, I don't practice as much now as I used to when I was a kid, but I bowl a lot more now. So, as a kid, I used to go down to the bowling centre every day after school, 5 days a week for an hour and a half, every single day, until my thumb bled.
Every day, 1.5 hours?
Until my thumb bled, and then I had to have a day off or 2 days off. But yeah, every day. I used to finish school at 3 o'clock, 3:10, go and do a paper round.
Yeah.
And then at 6 o'clock, the leagues used to start at 7 o'clock or 7:30, and I used to bowl for an hour and a half before they did that. So I was very lucky. But that's what I did when I was younger, and that was how I learnt muscle memory. And
what things of practice you used? You did
back then,
Paul thought in England is a lot of trouble to get the tough patterns, of course, on the lanes, and if you can't.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I was a kid then. You know, it doesn't really matter what I was bowling on. I was doing it as a training exercise. Conditions didn't matter.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I was able to bowl, you know, and do it physically, and get my body to have the muscle memory. Yeah, they say as a professional footballer, growing up until you're 18, you need to put in like 10,000 hours of practice to then be at the level you need to be a professional footballer. That might even just be to get into the academies. So if you relate that to bowling, you know, you have to go and put that same amount of time into bowling, 10,000 hours to be a professional before you get there. That's a lot of dedication, a lot of years' work, and it isn't worrying about, you know, can I have this pattern put down? Can I have that pattern put down? Can I have this bowling ball? Can I have that bowling ball? It's about putting in the effort and practice and the time to go and train your body to do what, you know, the best in the world, like Oscar Palermo's bowling there can do, and Stuart Williams, Chris Barnes, you know, Martin Larson, the best bowlers in the world, the best bowlers in Europe, you know, Brian Valenta, all these bowlers, they've all done the same thing I've done. There's no shortcuts to it, unfortunately. There's no right answer. There's no if you push the ball away in this step and that step. They're all tips and they can help you train. And there are fundamentals you need to do, but you also need to have the work ethic to be able to go and do it.
Yeah. So you need to spend a lot of hours to get where you are at this moment, and all the other guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
and they say a lot of players do also physically. You know, they go to the gym. You go to the gym.
Yeah, that's starting to.
How many hours?
That's starting to happen a lot more and more, I think. I go to the gym you know, when I'm at home, basically, and when I travel as well. So I do a lot of leg work, core work,
like squat.
Yeah, like squats.
Did sit down.
Squats, and I get onto the Pilates ball, and I just, it's called the Bose ball, using Pilates, and I use that quite a lot, and I use just stuff that's not going to change my body shape, but it's going to keep me fit. So, and that doesn't just help you physically, but it also helps you mentally. So when you get into like the World Series, it's going to be over. You know, we have 4 very, very tough days potentially, and I had to go through that last year of bowling. Some days you were in the bowling centre at 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't leave till 11 o'clock at night, and had to wake up the next day and do the same thing, and have to go through the highs and lows of what happened to me that day. And the only way you do that is to be mentally fit as well as physically fit.
Yeah.
There's a lot more bowlers now, same in any sport, that have that access to them. You can go to the gym, a lot more understanding. You know, you can go into Google, what do I need to do for this? Maybe that wasn't there in the old days, but it certainly is now. And if you don't do it, then you can bet that, you know, the peers and your people you're trying to beat are doing it. And then, in my opinion, if you're not doing it and they are, then they're one up on you already. You're already behind them.
Yeah. Somebody asked, when is the World Series of bowling this year?
It's about 6 weeks. Yeah, we're counting down now.
Okay.
So we go into that.
What do you think? You're in shape for it?
Not yet. No, not right now. I just had a long.
That's really hard, World Series.
Yeah. When the World Series comes around.
Can you tell the people at home how it is to go to the World Series, and you know?
Yeah, it's the biggest event we play.
It's every player is the best player.
Right.
Only the best players.
It is,
the toughest conditions.
And you know all of this in your build up too. It's not like you get there as a big surprise.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not really bowling fit too much right now, but by that time I will be here. I have my preparations
6
for that.
weeks. Yeah.
I have a tournament every week up until that tournament, and I have a Weber Cup, and then I have a few days off to get ready for the World Series, and I'll be ready for that one.
And in between that events, you practice for yourself at home?
Yeah, so typically for the next 3 weeks, so I'm here this week, and we have Berlin the week after, followed by Vienna, followed by the Weber Cup. So my routine will be to get home Monday, and if I bowled good, then I might not bowl Monday, but then I will bowl Tuesday and Wednesday and practice, and then I will travel Thursday and bowl Thursday night.
Yeah.
That's pretty much going to be my routine for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then if I bowl good, then I'll probably take the Monday off, enjoy it at home and rest.
Yeah.
It's a long time when you're away and you compete, and it does take it out of you. But if I'm not bowling very well, then you have to put the time in.
Yeah.
Even if you are bowling well, you still need to go and practice when you have a tournament coming up, because if you're not going to prepare for yourself, then you have to ask yourself what right do you have to win a tournament if you're not prepared.
Yeah. Well, we got another question. Tom, can you tell how hard it really is to bowl PBA than EBT? So I think they want to know the difference between EBT tournaments or a PBA tournament.
No, it's all tournaments. It's all really about you being on the lane. There's, your competitors aren't ever going to affect physically what you're doing. You might look around and say, oh wow, that's Pete Webber, or no, wow, Jason Belmonte, and the best bowlers in the world, and Sean Rash. But it took a little while to get used to that, I won't lie, having the best bowlers in the world around you. And it took a little while to understand, that you don't have to just... On the European Tour, the depth isn't as deep, for sure. Very, very good bowlers, world-class bowlers, just like there are on the PBA Tour. But there aren't as many. So if you have a good day on the European Tour, more often than not, you're going to be up there competing in the final 10 for the title. More often than not. If you have a good day on the PBA Tour, you might be in the top 30. There's so many good bowlers, but it doesn't mean you can't win out of that 30. You can win just like you do in the European Tour, but it is harder because there's so many more world-class bowlers.
Yeah, a lot.
In one.
And it seems to get bigger and bigger and more bowlers. But what about the patterns? Yeah, what is your hardest pattern for you? What's the hardest pattern for you, in your opinion? To play?
Probably patterns around this length, 38, 37, 38, 39 foot at the moment. That's
in the PBA, which pattern?
The PBA. It's just changed to Viper now. So Viper used to be 37 feet, it's now 39 feet.
So that's one of the hardest for you to play?
I kind of get, like I just said before, where you have to play a little bit more direct, or you have to be further in. Like, I'm better at Viper when you have to be further in, but those patterns now you have to be a little bit straighter, which is good. It's a good thing because there's not many patterns like that. And the only reason I think I'm not good at it is I haven't practiced it as much lately. I'm practicing it more the last year, so I can be good for those. But that's a length I struggle with. The short patterns, cheetah isn't too hard. You always know the gutter hooks, and it's about how you deal with that. And then anything longer than sort of 40 foot, 41 foot, you can start creating your own mid lane. But anything shorter than that, you have to control your own mid lane. And I can do a little bit better than that, I think. I'm not too good at that.
And what do you think about the new patterns they use at the summer swing?
Yeah,
the
so
long, the Badger, 52 feet. I think, wow, that's long.
They're night and day from one another. You have 32 feet, like you say, and
and the Bear. I saw everybody all on the Bear. When I watched the extra frame, I saw on the Bear a lot of
that's
angry
40 foot
faces
flat
or so.
And that's very, very tough. I mean, that's like similar to the US Open we used to play, but it can be argued it's a little bit harder because it's a little bit shorter. It's only 40 feet, and what that means is that your ball's going to hook more, generally. And if your ball hooks more, then it can be harder to control. So that's a very, very tough pattern. Then you get into 52 feet where your ball just doesn't hook. So you have a pattern where you have to control 28 feet at back end. You're only used to controlling 20 feet, roughly 40 feet.
Yeah.
For most house patterns, it's very, very tough. Then you move into the flat pattern, 40 feet, which is very, very tough.
If you get some medium patterns like 40 feet, you use stronger balls also, or weaker balls, or in longer. What do you prefer to use on a longer pattern? Let's say we get a long pattern. What do you prefer to use? You use a strong ball on a longer pattern, or you prefer more medium?
It depends. For rev rate, anyone with a decent rev rate, you kind of want to go more medium so you can get the balls to store up energy for the last few feet. But your ball's not going to hook. You have to understand that. 52 feet. 45 feet, it still hooks a little bit. You can create angle. You can't do that on 52 feet. You have to just create your ball to roll. So you have to sometimes you have to use very strong balls. Sometimes you have to use medium balls. There's no answer to that one, really. Same with 40 feet. 40 feet, you have a decent amount of back end without it being too much. So you can use almost any ball in that. But Also, any ball's just going to be as likely to miss the head pin as it is to strike. You have to throw a very good shot. I mean, bowling balls don't really matter with that pattern. It's more about your execution than anything else, because it is so tough.
Yeah.
And then 32 feet, you have to find something where you can control so much backhand. And that's been your thing, really.
We take a look at the score. Daniel Vezes finished 14-11. That means we got a tie on the first position now. Both got 1411, but Vezes finished with 256. That means he's on first position. Now we got a new number 1. And Jeroen Vergeel is second with the same score now at this moment. And Karsten Hansen is on third position. And I don't know what Osku shoots.
13.91 he can get.
Yeah, 30.91. That means that Osku could be, no, it's not now, because Karsten has 30.92. That means Osku could be number 4.
I think that's enough for the top 8. Top 8 get the prize.
Yeah.
Oscar strikes out.
What do you think about the cut this year? I think we have placed 30. At this moment it's 12.37. What should be the cut, you think?
You know, I'm not the cut guy. I've never really got involved with that too much. I kind of try to post my score, get myself away from the cut, and then not worry about it. So
yeah,
I couldn't tell you. Usually going into the last day in a smaller centre like this, I don't know, you could say maybe 15 to 20 bowlers might go in.
Yeah.
So how many people make it? 40? But it's only the top 30 from the standings. Maybe it would be 15th place, 1284. It won't get any higher than that, I don't think. They can't get any higher.
I think here something 1270, 1280, I think.
So I think that's pretty safe.
Well, it's a quiet tournament this year, you know. It's only 110 entries. First entries, yeah.
That's a shame, yeah. I mean, everyone here does such a great job. It's a real shame that people don't come out and support their tournaments.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the entry fees are reasonable, they're not too expensive. You get to, you know, you really think about what you can go and win as well, and the scoring pace isn't that high. I'm sure people at home can average 215 and make the cut. Doesn't matter what they're bowling on. So it's a real shame that they don't come out and support their tournament, and I think that, you know, without getting too far involved in this, if you really don't want to have bowling tournaments like this in your country, then keep doing what you're doing, because you're going to run it into the ground. You're already doing a good job of that. So there's no reason for you not to come out and bowl this. You can all make the cut. You can all get into the finals and go as far as you like in the tournaments, but you know, it's a real shame you're not out here bowling.
You see it in more countries now, eh? Somebody asked also, what was your hardest oil pattern you ever bowled? Well, Dom, tell us. It was fiber, eh? More the medium.
It's not. Yeah, I struggled a little bit compared to other guys. It's not the hardest pattern I ever bowled. The 40-foot flat pattern is up there as being one of the tougher ones for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything where you get the flat oil and it feels like a reverse block, they're the tough patterns. But then they're tough for everyone. The one I struggle with is the patterns that are a little bit less than 40 feet compared to other guys. I can still bowl well on them. I still do okay, and I still can beat quite a few guys, but I don't win on them at the moment. I still need to. I'm learning now. I'm still practicing. Yeah, I'm getting better.
Okay, well, the squad is finished. Well, maybe tomorrow we'll see you again here. I hope so, of course.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for that you've been here, of course. And hopefully you'll see you tomorrow on the lanes. What time? You're on the lanes?
2 o'clock. I come in. My wife and I are coming out to bowl at 2, and hopefully I'll be able to beat her next time. If I can't, it doesn't matter so much. I don't mind if she beats me.
So if you want to see Dom Barrett live tomorrow at 2, you'll see him live. And Dom, thank you, and have a good night.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
Okay, and for you at home, thank you for watching.